Some women don't chase, and yet, they're never forgotten. They move through the world with a quiet gravity, the kind that bends the unseen air around them. A man notices, even if he pretends he doesn't. He feels it in the pause between words, in the stillness she carries like an unshakable secret. And while his lips might speak indifference, his unconscious, the shadow he keeps locked away, leans toward her like a moth to a flame he cannot admit exists. He may believe he is in control. He may believe his detachment is strength. But in truth, he is ruled by currents he does not name. Carl Jung would say he is meeting his anima, his inner feminine projected outward, dressed in the form of a woman whose presence unravels something ancient in him. He hides the tremor, masks the longing, because to reveal it would mean to expose a crack in the fortress of his ego. Men are taught to stand like stone, but stone too can be eroded, quietly, by water. And so, he hides. He hides the truth that her silence is louder than any word she could speak. He hides the way her absence rearranges the furniture of his mind. He hides the ache that blooms when she no longer lingers in his orbit. To acknowledge it would mean admitting that control was never his, that the real power lay in the moments she and T try to hold him, because those were the moments he began to hold her in the prison of his thoughts. At first, he dismisses her detachment as disinterest, but detachment is not emptiness. It is the quiet assertion of worth, the soft refusal to participate in the games his ego needs to play. She doesn't send endless words into the void, doesn't claw for his attention, doesn't bend her light to fit into his shadows. And this unsettles him, because his unhealed self, his shadow, depends on the chase to feel wanted. Without it, he must face the echoing silence of his own inner void. In the deep chambers of his psyche, something begins to stir. It is the awareness that her leaving is not a punishment, but a mirror, a reflection of the parts of himself he refuses to tend to. Her walking away awakens the reality that he was never chasing her, he was running from himself. This is where the first truth hides. A man will never tell you that your silence forces him to hear his own. He cannot confess that the absence of your voice makes his inner chaos too loud to ignore. The second truth lives in the space between memory and desire. When she is gone, he finds her in fragments, her scent lingering in a sweater, her laugh in the echo of a crowded street, her calm presence in the way light falls through a window. These fragments are not hers to give anymore, yet they live inside him, refusing to fade. And he will not admit that he tends to them in secret, that he waters the memory because it is the only place he can meet her without the risk of losing her again. And then there is the third truth, the one most deeply buried. He cannot tell you that her absence forces him toward his own individuation. Jung would say that the soul pulls us toward wholeness through pain, and it is only when she withdraws that he begins to see himself not as the man he thought he was, but as the unfinished figure he has avoided becoming. Her departure is the catalyst he needed, though he would never thank her for it. A man's shadow is never comfortable with being seen, so he hides these truths behind pride, behind casual indifference, behind new distractions. But in the private hours, when the mask slips and the world is quiet, he feels them all. And she does not return. Not because she is bitter, but because she has already stepped beyond the need for validation from a man still wrestling his reflection. She knows that love cannot breathe in the airless space of someone else's denial. And she has learned that walking away is not an ending, it is a beginning. Because the woman who walks away in silence isn't weak. She simply sees more.